Did last night's game feel a lot like last year with just all the big plays South Carolina was getting and scores?
You know, it was somewhat because we had a lot of miscommunication. And we've had some of that this year, but not nearly to that degree. And it was more like they reverted back to where they weren't sure about some of the adjustments. And we had some individuals make some great individual plays, numerous plays, but we didn't play good team football. And most of it just started with bad communication on adjustments and stuff.
What do you think that's because? I mean, this far into the season.
One of them just it was a formation check that we used that they were using too often. They were seeing a formation a certain way, playing a certain coverage, and we got in it too much. And when you get in it too much, you end up getting what they like against it. But we had one. We had to check the defense, gave up a touchdown because two guys didn't get it off the sideline. Had another touchdown because a guy turned his man loose. You know, he knows what the defense is, but he just busted his coverage. Had another one with a freshman. You know, we played pretty good coverage, but he got beat on one. But there were too many errors on things that we practiced. And, you know, our players know it. They talked about it today. You go back and look at the film, they got all the right answers, but at the moment, they didn't function.
It seems like every interception, big play Jonathan Jones has had, it's either stop points or set up points for y'all's offense. Do some guys just have a knack? Is he at the right place, right time, or do some guys?
Yeah, I guess, I mean, you can say he's got the knack, but the thing about Jonathan, he's been playing so consistent for us that he keeps making those plays. You know, even sometimes when you don't see the flashy plays, he's really making some important plays for us in other areas. But he really has, that's one of the guys I'm alluding to, made two great plays on the ball. Thought he got a bad call on one of the interferences. The ball was thrown out of bounds, uncatchable. And he had good coverage on it. But, yeah, those were big plays, and one end zone particularly, because right after the onside kick, we lost 2 possessions through the turnovers in the kicking game, and defense goes right back out there, and he steps up and makes a big play. So, that's, I mean, got to really be proud of it.
Ellis, how hard does it make it, I mean, when you're playing somebody has just abandoned the punt and is just gonna go four downs wherever they are, all over the field? How difficult is that on the defense?
It's hard. I tell you what it does, it makes your third down call really hard, because you know you're thinking 2 plays. And I guess, you know, I know Coach wanted to be really aggressive. You know, can't get in the SEC championship, can't get in the playoffs. You know, what you're working for there is 6 wins in a bowl. So, I mean, he was very aggressive. And we had messed up the first 4th and 2. That was a dead play. One of our guys blew it. But you don't expect it there. But when you get out around midfield, I mean, we felt like that was probably what it was going to do. And they just out-executed us. You got to just face it.
Ellis, on the final play when Duke comes in there to play pass defense, is that something that you guys normally practice with Duke back there?
Yeah, we have worked on it with both him and Sammy. And I don't know what all went on. I'm up in the box. But last moment, they didn't put both of them out there, just put one of them out there. But Montravius was on the field, and I don't think anybody thought about that.
So when you practice it though, if Montravius is not on the field when you do that?
But he can't be.
Yeah.
I mean, we have to get him off, and they didn't have a timeout, so it was, to me, didn't have time to cut it off, you know. But, you know, it doesn't affect the play. A rule's a rule, though. But 2 jerseys out there with the same number certainly didn't affect who they thought was eligible. That's why the rule is really a rule, so that you don't have 2 players on offense that are eligible. But, you know, it is a rule, and it's something, you know, in the spur of the moment, he took off out there, and we got to try to get Montravius out.
Was there any chatter in the headset as soon as it happened? Someone noticed it, or was it just after the fact that you noticed it happened?
Just after the fact.
Ellis, whose responsibility normally would that be to make sure that one or the other comes off? Would that be like Coach Garner or someone else?
We've got coaches down on the sideline, you know, that have to control the subs, and, you know, coach will address it.
Now, let's just talk about the pass rush. Obviously, that was another concern Saturday night. Do you see anything from those guys that?
Not, guys, we still ain't getting there. I mean, you know, we did not play well in a lot of areas, but if you get the ball out of a guy's hand or get him on the ground a few times and get him tired, it would sure help. We're just not getting there. And I thought Brandon King came in and gave us a little spark. He does some things in our twist package that we're using him now. And getting a little bit more athletic guys on the field when we can. But frankly, the production's just not there. And in a game with 91 plays, I don't know how many times they threw it, but, you know, you got no sacks. And we're going to have to find some production.
With that in mind, this Ole Miss team is really pretty pass heavy too. Is that kind of what you saw?
They are statistically, and I've noticed that, just kind of looking at the stats. I've watched about 3 games on them, but their passing game's a little different. You know, coach is a drop back pocket guy, and Ole Miss is gonna be a little bit more play action. Ball's gonna come out quick, but their timing on it is just unbelievable. But I don't mean to say pass rush is not important. It always is, but it won't be the same type of game in the fact that you got a guy drop back in the pocket, throwing balls down the field, you know, combination routes and stuff like that. That's a little different. And it got to generate some pass rush on the quarterback. This is going to be more of a play action game, and ball coming out quick. And I bet they don't have many sacks because the ball does come out so quickly.
Have you, in all your time with Coach Spurrier, working for him, coaching against him, have you ever seen him just throw caution to the wind like he did in that game last night?
I can't remember. Not as often. And I think, you know, he'd never beaten Auburn. I know he really liked to have done that. He's been in South Carolina. He's accomplished so much over there. But we expected a lot of it. We knew it thought it'd be fake kicks, throw back to the quarterback, worked on it, blew it. Thought we'd get more trick formations. Didn't get many of those. But it didn't surprise me at all when you go for 4th down. And especially in some of the field zones. And then on 2 of them, we made great 3rd down plays, but we left it at 4th and 1, 4th and a half. So, you know, your odds are pretty good there. But yeah, it was pretty aggressive when you're on 30-something, you go for 4th and 2 after a timeout or a quarter.
Ellis, how much do you plan to utilize Ryan Applin, you know, this week, kind of game planning and scheming a little bit?
He's gonna watch tape with us. But, and I know Coach Malzahn knows the offense very well too, but when you've played quarterback for a guy, you know, you have a really good insight. He won't be able to tell us a whole lot that we don't see on film, but I think he will be able to kind of tell us what would he like to do if we do this, what would he be trying to attack us if we try this, and so forth.
Only because he's only a couple of years removed from it, and both playing for Hugh and working with them last year and working with Bo. Would he ever take reps on like the scout team, not necessarily in pads, but just to help appearances?
He can't do it. Not legal.
Ellis,
Pull a John Gruden on him.
the quick pitch, South Carolina, you know, had success. Like, was that something they was kind of new? That had they shown that much before?
Which one?
The 4th down one and a couple of plays where they had
It was a speed option, and they've used it a lot. A lot of times when they catch you in man coverage on long yardage, they'll check to it, and nobody's there to support. And in fact, we were in man, but linebacker just blew it. You know, didn't take the bat. But that's a check a lot of people use. You know, 3rd and short, you just about got to get in man to cover the short routes. And a lot of people use that check. You know, we've been hurt on it a little bit at State, and in Kansas State ran it. We had one big play against them. And it's just, you know, the shovel pass and speed option, you're going to get them.
How does Jermaine look back to practice? Has he been moved on from the special teams and the scout team? Why is
Not yet. No, nothing changed.
Ellis,
Did he play well, other than Jonathan Jones?
Frost had a lot of production. You know, had a couple of mistakes that I like for him to take back, and Casanova had a bunch of plays. I think Frost in double-digit tackles, pass breakup, tackle for loss, maybe 2 tackles for loss. Casanova had a pick, about 7, 8 tackles. You know, they were productive. Where we weren't good though, we didn't play real good, consistent football. And we had a lot of guys that I thought stepped up and made some big-time plays, but we just didn't have the consistency, and it came from a lot of communication mistakes, you know, checks and adjustments.
Ellis, like Laquan Treadwell is like an all SEC caliber receiver. I mean, how much better has he gotten? Because now he's a sophomore from when you guys saw him last year.
It's hard for me to say. I've watched about 2 or 3 films, but I haven't really studied them individually, you know, like individuals. I just see a little more disciplined route running, and you know, you got that age and that experience in the SEC. I'm sure he knows a lot more tricks and things. He's very difficult to cover. He's big, and very physical, but he just looks like to me he's much more consistent in his routes and making plays.
have you had a chance to see why LSU was so effective yet? Have you watched that?
Hadn't watched that one yet. We'll sit down and see that one tonight.
Take a few more. From what you remember from last year's game, Bo had over 300 yards, a couple of touchdowns. Obviously, a lot of that was to Moncrief, who's no longer around, but still, he was very productive. Just what do you remember from the issues that you had in that game, and what can change, obviously beyond personnel, what can change for this week?
One of them had a messed up coverage, hit a post. First big play that they hit was a post, and supposed to be a post player back there at the corner, It looked like the corner messed up, but he should have had some help. And another one I think was a fade route, just a long fade route down the sideline. But, they were good throws, and I thought we did a real good job early in the game of controlling the run, and they went more to throwing the football. And I thought he did a great job. Now, we had some pass rush last year, and we got him on the ground 5 or 6 times, but if we don't generate something this year, it's gonna be a lot different.
Is there a clear answer to what can make the pass rush better right now?
This guy's got to step up. You know, we don't have a waiver wire, can't trade any of them, but we've got to get some guys, put some production on the field.
All right, Coach, thank you.